Hiya, it's Tuesday's Talking Reds. It's the 16th of January, and as usual, there's stuff to talk about Liverpool, which is a fine coincidence for myself, Gareth Roberts, and Craig Hannon here. Top of the list then is that Simon Mignolet's been talking, and it turns out that he's not happy about being dropped, and he's actually going to the extent of saying that he's considering his Liverpool future. So I'm just going to get on the ale. I mean, no. I mean, look, Simon Mignolet's had a go, hasn't he? He's had a go for a few years. 5 years, is it now? 5 years, is it, Walshy? 5 years he's been here now, and he's just not good enough for me. I just don't think he's a good enough keeper. If he wants to get off, I think he should get off. But basically, he's not happy that there's been the chopping and changing, that Karius is obviously currently the number one, the man with the gloves. Paul Joyce has done the story, and he says that Mignolet has concerns over the rotation policy, which he says is unhealthy for a goalkeeper. I mean, on that, first of all, I actually agree with him on that bit.
Yeah, me too.
I think you need to nail who is your number one and then stick to it.
For the defence as much as anything.
Yeah, you need to build that understanding between the lads who are starting regularly at centre-half and full-back and the keeper. They've got different styles, the two main keepers at Liverpool right now as well, in terms of, you need to build up, like when's he going to come for the ball? You need to roughly know that in your head. When's he going to come out the box? When's he going to come and approach the striker? Is he any good at saving at his near post? Neither of them are. But yeah, Mignolet in this piece, he says, what is correct? I mean, obviously, people have heard about this and have been asking the question. There's been talk of a falling out with Klopp, but Mignolet denies that. He says, what is correct is that after the game against Burnley, I had a conversation with the coach, among other things, about his ongoing rotation. I did not find that a healthy situation for a goalkeeper. My place on the bench against City confirmed his words, and I'm not happy about that. But hard words have certainly not been said between us. I'm not satisfied with being dropped, but you have to respect the decision of the trainer. After everything that has happened this season, I know where I stand, and the situation has become clearer. I have been in such situations before, and I have always come out stronger. So I have to stay calm, but at the same time, I have to think about my future. I am 30 years old, and the World Cup is coming. This situation should not last too long, that is clear, but I cannot say any more about it either. Karius, of course, was put in goal against City. Klopp, when he was asked about why before the game, he said, usually I could say it's a decision for today, but if Loris now is able to perform, he will stay in the goal. I'm sure you all saw that Sane had a shot near post and he didn't bother saving it. Other than that, he didn't really have anything to do. I don't think there's too much of a question mark around him on the other goals. But basically, City had 4 shots and 3 of them went in. I mean, it'd be quite nice if one of them, Mignolet or the other fella, Karius, saved a few. We talked about this on the free podcast yesterday, and there were some different views around the table. But ultimately, that's where I keep arriving, is that I can't really think of a big performance from either of them for a while now. I mean, I remember, was it Stoke last season away? Mignolet, pulled out a few good saves there, and you came away from it going, the goalkeeper's potentially earned us some points there. But every time you watch the Manx, for instance, exactly. I know De Gea's a great goalkeeper, but every time you watch them, he's bailing them out, he's making good saves, and you watch us, and it seems like Everton ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, first of all, nice one to Sai there. He's grown a big set of swingers and come into the press. I love the bit there. I am not, you have to respect the decision of the trainer. Don't know if that's too respectful, going into the papers and saying you're not happy about it. And look, I'd caveat that all by saying that Karius is the other goalkeeper, and I've not seen anything from him to suggest that he's a top goalkeeper or he will be. I've seen people say, we need an extended run on the side, but I think he said before this, he's played something like 25 times, hasn't he?
Something like that, so 25, 27 times, I mean, whatever it is.
He doesn't save shots that he should save, and that's the thing. and we were told, oh, we've got this front foot goalkeeper. He's great with his feet. I've not seen anything to suggest that either. And first and foremost, I want my goalkeepers to make saves. I want them to save things that they should save. And then there are other goalkeepers out there like David De Gea who save things they shouldn't save, are winning countless points for Man United. I would love to see what United's position would be over the last couple of years in the league if they didn't have David De Gea.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're relying on a very brilliant attack, a world-class attack that we've got, but it's always let down by those behind them, and that starts with the goalkeeper. And I saw someone on Twitter say something like buying Van Dijk is like installing the best CCTV cameras around your new big house, but leaving the front door open if you've got Karius or Mignolet in goals. And that's right. And if news come out tomorrow that Liverpool were going to spend the majority of the Coutinho money on an All Black or a Alisson or whoever, I'd be all for it, just so it means we don't have to see either of these in nets.
I think the problem there is that no goalkeepers is looking. I mean, we are linked with those names, but they're not.
Difficult, yeah.
They're not going to sell in January. The keepers themselves don't actually seemingly want to move too much because they're all thinking about the World Cup. They're all thinking about the fact that they currently got regular football. Thing is, though, lads, if you come to Anfield and you're a good goalkeeper, you're definitely getting the game. I mean, to do the sort of the cup half full thing, and Craig has actually got tea in his cup today.
I always have tea in my cup, but people keep commenting saying that I'm doing it for like product placement.
Yeah, I mean, these mugs are available at the AnfieldWrap.com.
Doing the capitalism.
I mean, the argument from the cup half full people is that Karius could still come good. Perhaps he deserves this run of games that he's now seemingly got. I mean, despite that mistake against City, or despite not saving that shot, basically, Klopp did still come out afterwards when he was asked about it and said, people always find the hair in the soup. Karius had a fantastic game. Yes, the goal, he knows that, but it's not about that. It kind of is, though, because he's the goalie.
I usually get the argument, we should give him a run of games or whatever. He did get a run of games at some stage last season, and he didn't look good enough. Anytime he's come in, I'm thinking the Spartak Moscow game, the free kick. It's simple. It isn't that he's making a calamity error. It's that he's not saving shots
he got the run of games, didn't he? And then he made all the mistakes against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And and ultimately, Klopp got a bit of a cob on about everyone talking about it and the press highlighting it and Sky Sports talking about it and everything else. But this is the world of football right now. This is the way it works. Everything is highlighted. They're playing at the very top level, and they've got to be able to cope with that. And people keep referencing to say as well, De Gea wasn't the best at first, and that's true. But Karius has got to come good. He's either got to come good or he's shipped out and he's not good enough. And what's interesting about the Joyce stuff is, as well as Mignolet's quote, he does say, and I have highlighted this as the stars, underlines, big box round it. He says Klopp will buy a goalkeeper this summer. Yeah.
I think though, when everyone talks about David De Gea, if you think back to that time, De Gea was making mistakes, but Ferguson had obviously seen enough from him in training or in the matches to keep with him and stick with him. And I think the very fact that Klopp has had to chop and change his goalkeepers so many times just goes to show that he's not sure on either of them. I love the quote there from Mignolet saying that he's got a World Cup coming and he needs to think about that. Well, sitting on our bench is going to be good practice for you, sitting on the bench at the World Cup behind Courtois. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I don't. But I just think goalkeeper is yet again. We've had Mignolet for how long? 4 or 5 years now, and we're still talking about the fact that Liverpool need a goalkeeper. It seems like from about 6 months in, from Mignolet being at the club, we've been having this discussion, and the fact that he's still in nets for Liverpool is madness.
Well, also this idea that you sort of get ages to decide whether you're good enough or not. It doesn't really work like that. Top level football doesn't work like that. It never has. I mean, look at Brad Friedel. Goes on to have a great career as a goalkeeper in the top flight, and perhaps Liverpool, with hindsight, told him too soon. But he was judged to have been at fault for goals, and he was shipped out. He was gone. That was it. See you later. And so this idea that you just keep getting another go, it doesn't really work like that. And the fact that Klopp is now looking for a keeper, according to this, being linked with Alisson, at Roma. It says here that the fee, there could be a difficulty around the fees, valued at around 44 million. But he said that he's looking to move in the summer. Oblak is another one we're consistently linked with, but he's likely to cost around £89 million. He's at Atletico Madrid. So it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen soon, other than we just see Karius in goal again when we play Swansea.
And this is kind of my worry. We're now in a position where we've got the Champions League coming up. We have a good chance to win the FA Cup. We're still in that. We've got a favourable draw. We're sitting pretty in the league, and I keep saying this, I want to take as less risks as possible, and throwing Karius in and giving him an extended run on the side feels like a massive risk whenever I know Mignolet's not good enough, and nobody gets excited to see Mignolet on the side. But I think at the very least, I think he's mediocre, but I think he can do a job at times, and I've just not seen that from Karius, and so that's a worry for me going into the last 6 months at such a vital time of the season.
Everyone keeps saying as well, just lastly on the goalkeeper situation, like how bad must Danny Ward be, because how's he not got to go amid all this really? And they seem to love him when he was up at Aberdeen. Huddersfield as well, he got good reports there, and he just doesn't seem to have got a chance here. I wonder whether he'll give him a go against West Brom.
Be interesting. I can't really see any problem with that. I don't think anyone loses out on that. I think if he is adamant that Karius is going to be his number one for the rest of the season, then he's been rotating so far in the cup, so why not give Danny Ward a go? What's the worst that can happen?
At the very least, than you said you don't like rotating before.
Well, no, but I think my problem with rotating is that I've seen too much of Karius in my eyes. With Danny Ward, we've not really seen him. We've seen him maybe once, and he looked all right in the cup. And I think if you give him a go, then at the very least it creates another conversation for us on Talking Reds around who should be number one goalkeeper, Karius or Ward. But I'm worried.
That is Liverpool's bizarre glove triangle. Let us know.
Loves that.
Let us know who you think should be in goal for the Reds in the comments below. The other one then that everyone's talking about is there was an Instagram post, and everyone was it Lovren's Instagram post? Everyone got a bit excited because it was Lovren, Wijnaldum and Emre Can. It was someone with Emre Can, and everyone got excited about Emre Can. And I think Sturridge lashed up a comment on it saying ka-ching, and people have done mad maths, quick maths, and decided that Emre Can signed a new contract. It's come out today that isn't the case. But what Emre Can has said, which is interesting because Juventus seem to have been making noises that a deal's done and that he's definitely going there. What Can has said is, my agent is looking after Everton, but I am here until the summer. I haven't signed anything with Juventus or anyone. I am talking with everyone. Of course, I'm talking with Liverpool. I still have a contract here. It's an amazing club. What can I say? My agent does the rest. I just concentrate on the season, on my performance and the football. I will give everything for this team. And he certainly did give everything against Manchester City, one of the best performances on the pitch from him and in general from the team. So we'll see. It kind of feels like there's a little bit of hope there that he could still sign for the Reds. He is still only 24. The manager does seem to like him, whatever's going on with the contract. I mean, if you go back, it seems to be that they won't put in a release clause, that's the one, just because they don't want to set a precedent of putting them in contracts really, rather than it being an Emre thing. But that seems to be one of the stumbling blocks. Juventus, as I say, seem to be really confident about getting him. I mean, where do you stand on him? He is a player that sort of divides opinion. Me personally, I think if you can get him to sign, get him to sign. The more good players at the club, the better. Still got time to develop. Shown enough, I think, to deserve a contract.
Yeah, when he's at his best, he's brilliant, isn't he? And I think it's just consistency's Emre Can's problem. I think from his point of view, I don't really understand why he's looking away from Liverpool, because it's not like he's not getting games. He's played a lot this season. He played loads over Christmas. He's playing under a German manager in the Premier League, and he's progressing. We've seen he's played in Germany. He went to the Euros with Germany. He's been in their squad, so I don't see why he would take that risk in leaving at a time when he's playing a lot of football at the highest level. From a business sense, it makes, I'd be doing everything to try and keep him. The last thing you want is to lose a player at 24 for free, and then for him to go and have a brilliant season at Juventus and end up being worth sort of 40 million or something. So and like I said, when he's brilliant for this team, he really is. We saw that at the weekend. He was outstanding, and I think it's just about getting that consistency. You'd hope that he'll stay at Liverpool, and he'll find that over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who've defended Jordan Henderson to the hilt. I would say this season I haven't seen Jordan Henderson put in a performance like Emre Can did at the weekend.
No.
So, and yet, everyone seems happy for Henderson to stay, so why aren't you happy for Emre Can to stay? Again, a controversial one that divides opinion. We're always listening to what your opinion is too. Post it in the comments below. All right, next then, we're going to look at today's newspapers. All right, today's newspapers, they're not loads in, to be honest, that I think is particularly interesting for yourselves out there. All the boredom details of the Sanchez battle that goes on. It's been going on forever, hasn't it? The latest is that City have pulled out. He's still expected to join Manchester United. Chelsea are having a bit of a sniff. Mad figures being lashed around about how much he's going to get up front, how much he's going to get in wages. City seemingly pulled out because he was essentially asking for more money than Kevin De Bruyne, and they didn't want to sort of upset that apple cart. So they're out of it. It looks nailed on that he goes to Manchester United above all, but Chelsea have come and had a bit of a sniff. Meanwhile, in some of the other papers, it's coming out how much some of the other Arsenal players hate him. Apparently, he's sort of had a bit of a face on since they got battered by Bayern Munich, and has been sulking ever since, really. So they're sort of be glad to see the back of him. So that's that done. As I say, bit bored and all that, really. The other stuff that is in all of the papers, and is really good, to be honest, is there's lots and lots of tributes to Cyrille Regis. The Mail there describes him as the man who faced down the racists. Sadly passed away this week. I just wanted to say something on Cyrille, really, that I'm of a certain vintage and Craig's of a different vintage. I remember him, Craig doesn't. And we've got a few sort of 20-somethings in the office who, it didn't ring any bells for them, and why would it? He was a player in the 70s and the 80s. But Cyrille, if you don't know who he was a pioneer for black footballers, a man who had to endure some terrible abuse from the terraces back then, including being sent a bullet in the post when he was called up for England with a threat that he would have his knees blown off if he actually turned out for the Three Lions. Nice. Yeah, and as I say, it didn't sort of register with some of the younger lads in the office. And if you're the same, I'd not only urge you to read the tributes and the stories about Cyrille, because it's really interesting from all points of view, from a football point of view, from a society point of view, from a just where we are as a world right now point of view, really. But also as well, if you're wondering just what he was like as a player, he was pretty decent. I remember him slotting quite a few against Liverpool, including one, I think it was for Coventry, at Anfield, and it sort of broke a long run of Coventry never winning at Anfield. He scored the winner. I think they hadn't won there for something like 25 years before Cyrille popped up with the goal. But he also scored, the one everyone always remembers is a goal against Norwich in 1982. I would urge you to YouTube that one. It's an absolute belter, and it doesn't matter what age these goals are scored in. You can still appreciate the talent that it takes to allow him to score that. So yeah, look that up, and condolences to Cyrille's family if they're watching. I doubt they are, but yeah, he's an important figure in English football. On the Sanchez thing then quickly, Craig, just because that's what all the headlines are about still. Are you particularly bothered where he ends up and the impact he has on, for instance, a fairly boring Jose Mourinho side who won again last night against Stoke?
It worries me a little bit because it's another boost for them, isn't it? And we've lost one of our best players. Obviously brought in a brilliant defender in Virgil van Dijk, but it does worry me whenever your rivals are able to strengthen with a player like Sanchez, because on his day he is, he's unplayable, he's brilliant. And if you said to me that there was a chance that Liverpool could sign Sanchez, I would be absolutely over the moon.
Would you want Liverpool to pay that money for a 29-year-old?
I've seen some of the figures. I think it would cost, if United sign him, it's costing, I think it was 105 million over the period of his contract. Yes, I would. To be honest, it's not my money, and I would far
You'd
rather
you'd have to break the wage structure though at Anfield.
That's the thing. But then I just, if you look around at our rivals and how much some of our rivals are paying their players, I just don't think Liverpool are in that bracket just yet, and I'm up for any opportunity to bring in a player like Alexis Sanchez. I really am. As a fan, I don't have to sit and worry about the checks. You
don't have to worry about the checks, but you surely do have to worry about the makeup of the squad and the way that Klopp manages his players. So you've got a player here who I've just said, according to the Mirror, John Cross in the Mirror, has been sulking for months, pissing off his teammates. They're not unhappy to see him go because they're fed up of his grid. So imagine him kicking around at Anfield with a similar attitude, or Melwood. And you've seen before when he clears out Sakho, plenty of people rated him as a defender, thought he was better than what we had. But he cleared them out because he didn't like the fact that he broke the club rules so many times. But he also didn't like his behaviour around the place. And so Sanchez, to me, yes, talented player, yes, might end up being some kind of, latter day Eric Cantona for United, but at the same time he comes with a risk in that he's displayed a certain type of behaviour at one of our rivals already. So why would you want to sort of upset the team spirit, if you like?
You could say Van Dijk to a certain extent did that at Southampton. We brought him in. I think if we sign Sanchez and he comes in, he's not cup tied for the Champions League as well. If he comes in and bangs a few goals in the Champions League, then everyone's talking about how he's worth all this money, and the players will respect him for doing that. I think it depends on his performances from now on. I think we've seen how players can go steal at Arsenal, and we've seen even one of our own, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He obviously wasn't enjoying his time at Arsenal. He wanted out of there, and Sanchez has just gone down a different route to make sure that he gets his move. If I was stuck in a job that I didn't want to be in and wanted to move to here, I'd be, I wouldn't want to work, and it's a job to them at the end of the day, and I can see why he's got frustrated. I can see why he's getting frustrated with the teammates around him, with the manager. You see how the fans are getting frustrated with the team, and yeah, he should be digging in and trying to help them out, but
being professional.
But we've seen, Philip Coutinho decided he didn't want to play, and I think that's something that modern footballers are going to do these days to get their move, because they know with how much money there is in football, it makes it more difficult. And I just want as many top players playing for Liverpool as possible. And if we signed him and he played well over the next 6 months, got us top four, maybe won us an FA Cup, or we went far in the Champions League, then everyone's talking about how it's brilliant money spent. And that's my worry, is that we might see that with Mourinho's United if he does go there.
Yeah, the Times say that Arsenal demanding a £35 million fee for Sanchez. His agent is thought to want a sum of £5 million to £10 million. Sanchez is demanding an eye-watering signing-on bonus of £20 million as well, in addition to basic wages of £350,000 a week, which, as I say, would absolutely destroy Liverpool's wage structure. So there you go. That's been today's papers, and that has been today's Talking Reds.